Do I gotta make this more fluid. I gotta figure out how to do that. I'm no good at that. I'm not a computer tech guy. But welcome to. We'll get to those comments in a second. Welcome to the Sacrament podcast number 9. All right. I'm excited to have that. Okay, so oh, okay. So before we officially started this podcast, I always load up the stream just to make sure my sound's good and whatnot before 7 o'clock. Sometimes I go over, like I started at 7:03. Sue me, not perfect. Um, we were talking about our approach on. We were actually discussing one of our discussion points and the approach for players, and it kind of brought us into the conversation of add-on. I want to go ahead and bring up something. Sinden does not like add-ons. Was a pain in the ass. I believe that the major, yeah. So one of the major issues, and we've already had this discussion internally, we haven't gone out and released all the information on add-ons yet. I believe that's like IR 42 or something like that. It's a little bit down the road, might be in the 30s. One of the major issues that we found with add-ons that a lot of people can agree on is boss mod add-ons. A few ways around this, because we are giving people the complete capability to monitor their combat meters. Um, you without cutting the API off for that, which really you would have no reason to do as a development team. The real way to screw with that is to simply change the timers. A lot of games, WoW being the origination of the big boss mod, I believe it was called BBM. Um, it's People are going to take advantage of what they can take advantage of. That's just how it works. This is when you get into raiding, especially difficult shit, it gets competitive. People want every edge they can get. Steroids doesn't really function that well in the in the gaming world. It doesn't have the same effect. So what people do is they'll utilize whatever data they can mine and plug it into any kind of non-invasive software to improve their game. And this Big Boss Mods add-on was a great example of this. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna mute you still. All right. You can't hear him, but he's typing up, and I can hear him clicking over. I think shift is push the talk key. If you gotta push the talk key, set the shift. Stop being a scrub and change it, noob ass motherfuckers. Jesus Christ, I can't. Shift, Control, Tab, and Alt. Why? Why? Stop it, scrubs. Okay. Anyway, so I love you, Steel. Um, so essentially, I mean, if you look at which we'll talk about later, if you look at the raids that we release, you'll notice that there are varying gaps of time. That's not a 10 or 20 seconds or one of the times in between. These varying gaps are anywhere at this point. Some of our gaps are some 30 seconds apart. Big boss mods aren't going to be able to help you out with this. Big boss mods are not going to be able to time these up because people were able to sync. A boss had a mechanic that would trigger every 30 seconds, and it was just automatic. It, like clockwork, would happen every 30 seconds. In this game, it doesn't work like that. On top of that, we've got certain mechanics that will override others. And in that event, you're looking at a delay in that secondary mechanic until it triggers. Your big boss mods are going to be all over the place with that kind of stuff. The other issue he put up when updates come out, most of the add-ons don't work correctly, and you have to wait till an update comes out. Correct. Because they're constantly changing the API. Luckily for you, we have a huge, huge freak with APIs who understands how this works. In the event that he's got major API changes going out, everybody who's got a major mod will be given access to the beta so that they can refine their mods, so that they can get in there and work with it. Or even another potential is a standalone client that just goes on your computer that will allow you to test your mods. I believe Wicked actually talked about that. I know it's in a document. I don't have all the details on the API. We discussed it. We went over it. I allowed Wicked to go through and master it, essentially. I believe there was an option in there that we had discussed about creating a standalone client that pushes out the update so that people can test their mods on their own without even needing access to online, and then push the mods forward. Keep in mind, every time you mess around with the internet, every time you've got people looking for exploits and ways in, there's going to be people trying to hack stuff. In the event that we find out somebody's been hacking, somebody's been cheating on these mods, somebody's been going about it, believe me, we'll be taking care of that. Don't you worry. And if you're raiding, if you're especially competitive raiding, we'll be jumping in just to see how you guys love to raid. We've got all kinds of plans to be able to view and monitor players live as they're playing through the game from a third-party look, or not a third party, a third-person view over the shoulder, just to see the kind of things that they're doing. So we've got a lot of things in place, as well as a constant full-paid GM staff that is always on duty. We've always got people on turnaround. We're going to be on the ball, very aggressive about going after hackers, cheaters, exploiters, all of it. So yeah. Fucking crave. All right, so let's get back to the regularly planned broadcast here. Flyover video update. Nothing's changed. I've got nothing else for you. I know that the work is being done and it's moving forward. We actually just picked up, was it 2? I know for sure 1 additional content developer and level designer. I believe we might have picked up 2, or I've got a time. Oh, you know what? I'm talking to someone tomorrow. We got another interview. So right as I said, we're done, picking up volunteers to make sure we get everything under control, which we have. We just haven't opened up picking up volunteers outside of specified fields. We get people volunteering for these specified fields that we already had set aside, and only for those specified fields. So it was actually kind of funny. This entire project has gone like that. Once we bring one element, all this other stuff come crashing down to support that element. It's been rather insane. If anything, if you're a spiritual individual, you could say those were signs from God. But we won't talk religion here, because unless we're talking about the 21 deities, nobody cares, right? Forum life is crazy, especially right now. You'll find out why. Social media life is getting really crazy. We finally broke 400 likes on Twitter, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm not quite sure. I've been working on raid writing for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I've been doing a lot of other stuff at the same time, but my primary focus has been raid writing. So all that other stuff, I don't remember much of it. Talking to volunteers, holding interviews, discussing new technical opportunities, going over other systems and subsystems, and it's been really crazy 2 or 3 weeks. So it's keeping up with the exacts of the media life. I think I'm gonna have to actually surrender my control over Twitter, whatever, to an actual media specialist, because we have a team now, and allow them to take full reign of that, because it's just I know I've been slacking a little bit on the Twitterverse. Facebook has been pretty good. Adora's been taking care of that. So yeah, that's a thing. So last week, what did we talk about last week? Look, I keep all my notes right here. It's so weird, right? Raids. We asked if you wanted to see raid outlines and the type of stuff you'd love to see in raid scenarios. Um, we've actually got some pretty interesting responses on the raid scenarios. I'm kind of impressed as to the without understanding our current design on raids with some of the ideas some of you came up with. Um, I wouldn't say any one of them specifically fits what we're doing as far as raids, but there were two of them that were really close. I'm talking like a few mechanics off from the type of raids we are building. So it's actually pretty good. Really good ideas. And I wasn't even looking for those kind of write-ups. Type of stuff I was looking for was people to come on and say, I want to see a boss that vomits nitrous oxide out of his earballs or some shit like that. I don't know, some really crazy stuff. Something to more or less spark some crazy ideas, really. So that's what we talked about last week. You guys had some really amazing responses to last week. So I enjoyed that. It's always nice to see people active on the forums, especially when they can speak their mind, when they can voice their opinions, their concerns, and their ideas. Those things are all gorgeous. This week, we'll get to our first conversation point here. Send in. When do I normally go to work? I'm retired, homie. This is I do this as a hobby, and I do it 40, 60 hours a week. So, yeah, it's fun. There is no actual work to me for me. I'm retired. So this is my life fantasy right now. So, and I've got no plans to just let it fall under. So while we have a full volunteer force, Lanham works tirelessly. So first topic of the day is map style. This is something we were actually talking about as I went live. That led over to the discussion of add-ons. So map style. This isn't so much the do you want a 3D map kind of thing. This is more, so there are a lot of options for maps, right? And a mini map and a major map, the whole mini map thing is whatever. It'll be an option that'll be there, I think. I can't remember if we talked about it. Even if we don't put it in, players are going to put it in. So it's one of the things, if we haven't decided on that, we'll bring that up for a conversation later. Maybe I'll just include it in this. But so for the general map itself, right? You press the M button in most games, it pulls up a big old map. There are a lot of options here. A lot of things that people do. Way back in the day, the first 3D MMO, you literally had to draw out the lines. You could walk wherever you wanted, but nothing ever opened up. It was just a blank slate. So what you would do is you would set it to, you had all the options to edit your map any way you wanted, and you could set it to start creating a line, and then you would run along the edges of the zones. For those of you that know EQ1, this is Gaffe, right? Because that was the first zone most of us mapped, if we did any real mapping at all. And really what that led to was a lot of us going online and printing out the maps on paper. So we would play our games looking at maps over here. We just have a big ass folder with some 300 pages. I kid you not. And it was fucking glorious. I loved it. I don't think this will work nowadays. I really don't. But, we would read a map over here, and we would check our /LOC, and we would figure out where we were going that way. Somebody figured out how to essentially create it so that the map read as an actual file now, and just load it into your game. And so EQ1 still uses this. Where you can download all the map packs, and somebody else has already drawn it all up, already gone through that process, and they just you plug it into your map folder, you reload the game, bam, your maps are, they're not the maps you see nowadays with a 3D, they're just lines and shit. They've essentially got about 2 layers, and then that's it. But it works for what it was. We are not EverQuest 1. We can't get away with that system. So there's questions about the way that we want to handle exploration of the map is really what it comes down to, right? The exploration style of the map. Some games, when you hit a certain point, it opens up a section of your map. Some games you can buy from a cartographer guild NPC type. Final Fantasy 11, I'm talking about specifically, and it opens up a whole zone of the map for you. You don't have to explore it. You can just buy the map, and it will open that up for you. No matter how much exploring you do, it will never open up that map until you go and purchase that basic outline. Other games, you explore every itty bitty little piece. I think, might be wrong about this, but I think Guild Wars 2 was explore every piece. And some games just give you the entire map, and you explore key elements on that map, ESO, Skyrim style. So the question comes down to what is it? How does a player base want to discover this map? How does a player base want to explore this map? Do you want to see cartography guilds, player-made cartography guilds out there who instead of having to download the files, you're purchasing maps from in-game? Do you want to go and explore entire sections at a time, or do you want to have to explore every itty-bitty nook and cranny? I mean, we could say that these are different levels of casualness, but they're really not, because somebody's going out there and creating these maps for the player base if we go with cartographers. And on top of that, and this is something we were talking about when I first came in, is you've got I got to stop looking over at chat. I keep saying that and I keep doing it. You've got lost my damn train of thought. Anyway, so we're going to post this topic up there, and there may be something that you guys have in mind that I haven't seen yet, that my team hasn't seen yet, and I would love to hear all about it. Absolutely love to hear all about it. It really comes down to, we really want a lot of player involvement in this game. On that basis, on that assumption, my idea, if everybody said, let Lanham choose, surprise us, I would say cartography guilds, player-made cartography guilds. And this is just one more thing that can go on the market. One more thing. This is kind of short-lived to a degree. The first maps that are going to come out are going to be the quickest ones, and then people are going to want far more control or far more detailed ones. And then as expansion comes out, you're going to want more and more and more. So it's got an extended life, an indefinite life. As new players come in, they'll be picking them up. But the supply and demand is where it really fluctuates. So the issue there is pricing, right? Because the less amount of people that need it, the more they're going to charge you to get the map. So it's something that it's got its pros and cons. They've all got the pros and cons. Personally, if we don't go with that one, I would prefer explore every part of the map by yourself. I don't like the big chunks of the map becoming opened up just because you stepped on location marker 332-479. Personally, I think that shit's lazy as fuck. But that's me. That's why it's up to you guys to decide. So head over to the website in a few hours after I've converted this over to YouTube and take a pick. If you follow on Twitter, by the way, either Friday nights or Saturday mornings throughout the day sometime, I always post when we release the newest podcast. So except for 2 weeks ago, that was my bad. I absolutely forgot about it. I wasn't being lazy. I just got caught up in so much other stuff that it just completely spaced my mind. But we're caught up now. I'll do my best not to lag behind again. So head on over. If you're not on Twitter already, go like us on Twitter. We always need some love over there. That seems to be the hardest one to get any movement on. All right, so do we have anything? I agree with you, Cindy. Minimap sucks. I don't need one either. Personally, hate the minimap. Absolutely hate it. So EQ Atlas, absolutely. Steal deals on all of them. He just wants all of them to be active in the game. Okay, so this one is a bigger one for us. I think I'm actually in the conversation. I forgot to go back out to the main. All right, so we'll just go here. All right, so we'll go over to news and announcements. We had the question up for about 2 weeks, and we posted it for the podcast just to bring a little bit more light to it. And I think everybody that was going to vote on it voted on it. Really, I think is what it came down to. So we went ahead and released a raid. Originally, we were only going to do one, but we decided One would give you an idea of a rating system as though it was set up in that exact format every time. And the reality is the only exact format we've got is that we want every player involved at all times, and we want every role to be present. At least one of every role to be present. I mean, when we get to the 24, 36 player raids, we're talking about 2 and 3 of each role minimum. So, and then at that point in time, it's really based on a raid, what fight they're going into, how they want to build for it, what their players can handle at those roles. So it's going to be based on what the individual players can bring to the groups, and that's what raiding is. That's how it works. So when people try to build raids, this shit drives me nuts. When people try to build raids because, oh, we want 2 tanks in every raid. Fuck that. Your raid already fucking sucks because you just told everybody how they're supposed to raid in your system. That's not what raiding was intended to do. Raiding was intended to bring a massive amount of challenge to people who had already reached endgame, who had already reached max level. Raids were never supposed to be outlined that way. That's some cookie cutter bullshit format that does not work and has not worked in MMOs yet. So, we're not playing that game. We are instead, as we're doing with most things, we're taking a look back at what made other things successful and evolving the system from that point, as opposed to from the point it's currently at and trying to fix it from there. I mean, essentially, it's like, would we rather evolve the classic or the BMW or the Rabbit? The Rabbit's a piece of shit. It fucking sucked. It failed horribly. Now, I'm going to go and evolve the BMW from that same point in time as opposed to the Rabbit. I just can't really see, you know, I don't know, some of these games. Anyway, so here's under news and announcements. You can go here, and this should give you a link to all 3 of our raids. The raids are fairly simple on paper. Understand a few things. And this, I had this conversation with Neo Solidus. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's got too many syllables. Laying them no good with syllables. Syllabus. That sounded like syllabus. So, enunciation is not my thing either. Anyway, so what was I going to say? Oh, the conversation I had with Neo Solidus. I don't remember what it was. God, I get distracted so easy. I need help. I really do. Which one of y'all motherfuckers gonna come and help me with this podcast? For real shit. I'm just playing. Okay, so anyway, I'll remember it and get back to it. Or I won't, and you'll just notice it. Notice the conversation I had with Neo Solidus. So, that's a thing. I will say we already scared Sawjack because he realized he's really not going to be able to solo any of these. Go back and solo. I apologize, dude. We didn't create raids for you know, single player encounters. It's just it wasn't done that way intentionally. We just understood what we absolutely loved about raiding, what was absolutely cherished about raiding at the time, and we brought that forward with some new elements. So hey, if we fail, then we fail. So I shouldn't yeah, okay. So Neo Solidus, got it. I got into a pretty good conversation with Neo Solidus a few days ago. Okay, so to go along with this, I believe this is in the same area. I think this one's actually everywhere because that's how Dora set it up. Is our first, I don't know why that's not at the top, but it's not, our first official Sacrament contest. All right. This is the first time I'm actually looking at this. So, if you go, essentially the contest works, you give us what you'd like to see in a raid. It doesn't have to be an entire fight idea. It really doesn't. And then you come over to this thread and you post the link to that thread, and I believe the name of it and the link to the thread, and then a brief overview. Now, if your raid fight is a paragraph long, there really is no brief overview. There really isn't. So, don't worry too much about that. If you type in kill boss, go boom, get loot, we'll get it. I'm fine with it. It's just, you know, I don't expect you guys to write sentences and sentences and paragraphs. Not like I did with these raids. Now, the raids we do have here, we've got some really good fights in here, if you're looking. If you're a member of the Sacrament team, or you're looking to become a member of the Sacrament team, If you're currently a member of the Sacrament team, you're not qualified for this. We will have in-house, what do you call this? Shit, man. Contests. I don't know why I forgot that word. We will have in-house contests, okay? So you can play around with those. For those of you looking to become a member of the Sacrament team, I would recommend waiting until after this contest is over, or whatever contest you're involved in is over, to become a Sacrament of the team, member of the team, as that will punt you from the contest, essentially. So, what else? What else? Okay, so I think this was a pretty good. Okay, so here's a pretty decent layout, right? This one's pretty detailed as far as what they would like to see. It's not nearly as long as the raids that I've posted, but only because he doesn't go through all the details I've got. And understand, the raids that we have posted, these are really a brief outline of how everything's going to work. There will be adjustments when the raiding starts happening. So to provide the level of challenge necessary to complete the raid without overwhelming the player base, we don't want a tier 11 raid being something that just can't be done. That's not what tier 11 is all about. That's not what that raid is all about. So he provided a photo for us. Love you for that. Didn't need to. And, you know, people talk about it here and there. And there's some good conversation going on, some joking and whatnot. So please feel free to go post, go become a part of this. I believe the reward is, I guess I should tell you what the reward is, huh? Need to buy VW stocks. Yeah, those probably aren't coming up anytime soon. So I would, if you're looking to invest, go invest in Volkswagen, since they just got caught cheating the shit out of the emissions test system. If you haven't heard of that and you don't care about cars, don't worry about it. Just don't buy a VW. Do we talk about? Here we go. Okay. I'm not going to read all this. You guys can read all this though. So click on that. Make sure you go through. The rewards are something about NPCs being named, something about forum ranks, and something about oh yeah. Okay, Guess is a live podcast. Did we? Okay, so on October 16th, we would choose the top 3 submissions. Tell your friends. If you got friends that want to come on this show and ask me a shitload of really hard questions, tell them to create a decent little raid idea and submit it. Just something easy to do. Get them a chance to come in here. We will have other ways, not as you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Creatively challenging ways to get people on the show. But we do want to provide a way for players to earn. I don't like that word. I don't like the way I was saying that. For players to come on here, that's not just kind of a giveaway. We just wind up giving it all away. Nobody's really going to care about coming on here and asking hard questions. Also, for the love of God, this is a request ahead of time. If you come on here to ask a bunch of questions, I really don't care what the questions are. You want to ask about my dogs and my cat and the stray we just found the owner to, go for it. I don't really care. I mean, there will be a level of personal that I'll just shut you down at. But you can ask essentially any question you want. If it's about the game, for the most part, you will get an answer. I mean, for the most part, because I'm not giving you the details as to how we're creating some of these systems. I'm not just going to give away trade secrets. That classifies as a trade secret and will absolutely lose our competitive edge in the capability of building what has the potential to be one of the most interesting MMOs to cross our paths in 10 fucking years. So, just be aware of that. You want to ask about payment model, you want to ridicule something, you do whatever you want. Make sure that the person who was on here before you didn't ask the same damn questions. Nobody wants to hear that. I'll answer it again for you. It'll be the same exact answer, which will make it really absolutely boring. But for the love of all that is holy, please don't just ask the same questions over and over again. I know we're used to this shit because it's all most companies want to answer is the 3 or 4 questions they're willing to field. But you've got the opportunity to challenge the shit out of us, to find what it is that concern people the most and bring it to light. We don't really know what those are. People are too afraid to go on the forums. But I tell you what, you give the person an opportunity to ask you in person-ish, correspondence type on a live setting, they're going to ask that question. So, by all means, go for it. Will there be dragons? Motherfucker, I hate you. I hate your face. Okay, do we have any questions about anything at this point in time? About any of the raids that we've laid out or anything? It doesn't even matter to me. Can you have a dragon mount? Can you have a dragon mount? This one needs visual aid. I just need to. It's gonna be horrible. I'm not a great drawer, but drawer, is that really how that word's supposed to be used? I'll ask Adora later. She can edit my audio later. Okay, so again, my sketches are really rough. All right, can you have a dragon mount? We got that, motherfuckers. Dragon mount. Oh my god. Bastard. Alright, so if nobody has any other questions, by all means. God. Oh shit. I love you guys. I really do. You guys are fucking awesome. I'm going to close this out. And I'm seeing no new questions, and Mr. Bucky Cat is laughing at my horrible drawing. My artistry is bad. I warned you. I warned you. Don't make fun of me. Be gentle. I'm brittle. I'm really not. I'm a ginger. There's no brittle with gingers, except for the sun. Oh my God. I can't even go outside in the winter and remove the snow because I burn from underneath. Go fucking figure, right? So anyway, God, I can't even. Motherfuckers. All right. Focus, Lanham. Focus, Lanham. We're good here. We're good here. We're good here. Thank you for coming. Head on over to the website. Actually, I wanna add this. I was trying to do this with a friend the other day. I haven't tried to do this personally. It didn't even cross my mind. I know, major fucking oversight, Lanham. What the fuck? You guys are gonna fucking fail. Game's gonna fail. I was trying to set him up for the what is it? The newsletter email, and it wasn't functioning. So don't try to do that just yet. I'll let you know next week. All right. Love you on that. So instead, though, go over to the forums. When you're up here at the top, it's this button all the way over here. I know some of you don't read English. That says forum, or in German, Forum. I don't know. That was bad. That was shit. I apologize. I'm gonna burn in hell for that one. Don't you worry. It's German for a whale's vagina. So head over to the forums, chat it up, talk it up, ask a million questions. Neil Solidus is always bringing up potential issues. Bring them. I love to have conversations about it. Stop assuming you know what people have and have no experience in. Sons of bitches. We're gamers. We're not fucking Republicans. That was wrong. That was wrong. That was my political anger coming out. I don't mean that about all Republicans, okay? And I'm not a Democrat, so I don't mean that about all Democrats either. I'm that guy that sits on the fence and kind of pokes at both of them because they both look like a bunch of kids throwing stones at each other, but no idea why the fuck they're doing it. Anyway, I don't mean to insult Republicans, okay? What I mean is we're not. God, now no matter what I say, it's going to feel like this is how I view Republicans. So I'm just going to leave this right there, okay? So ask questions, all right? If you feel like somebody's making statements about something that they might not be qualified for, ask them what their qualifications are. We are smarter and more intelligent than we give ourselves credit for. Let's use that shit. We're not superheroes. We don't read minds. We can't read motherfuckers' past. Unless you can tell me the size of my dick, you don't have the capability to determine what I have and have not done. Which probably is too hard to figure out. So, not what I have and have not done. So head over to the forums, chat it up, talk shit about the size of my dick. I'm a ginger. I cry all the time anyway, so If you have any particular skill sets, right now we're looking for. Oh, what did she tell me? She told me she was looking for somebody specific. I I'm horrible with position titles. I literally ask all of my guys what position they want everybody in. Luckily, I don't have that many flowing conversations with Serena, as we both retreat to our specific jobs. So it's going to be here right now. Graphic designer. There we go. If you have any capabilities as a graphic designer, we have one on the team. She also helps out with some social media stuff, so we keep her rather busy. But we've got, according to our director of graphic design and all that shit, and very, very generous. Small's not really like, small's one of them words where it doesn't really describe shit because a small dinosaur is still bigger than my fucking house. A tiny ass dinosaur, now you know that's probably as big as my cat or some shit. But a small bus, you know, it's pretty fucking big. So objective words gotta be more detailed. Anyway, so as I'm helping you insult the size of my penis or tell everybody the size of it. So if you have any skills specifically in that area or know anybody with skills in that area, by all means head on over. And we're always looking for content developers. Always. We'll never have enough of those. Well, we'll have enough of those eventually, but not while we're in volunteer mode. Most content developers want to start making, you know, $150 out the gate. So the reality is the talented ones are usually the humble ones. Usually there are a few cases of talented individuals being major douchebags. I know, it's crazy. Anyway, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and something Reddit. Yeah, so go check out our raids. Again, over to the forums, news and announcements, and it is the news and announcements, right? No, not? Maybe not. Did I overlook it? It's the third freaking one right there. You're retarded, Lanham, and you just showed everybody on the freaking internet. Well, I write good raids, so you can go see that. I wrote all of these, so I mean the ideas are shared among all of us, but Adora really loves the Hungry Dragon fight. She came to me one day and said, "Oh my God, can we do a fight like this?" And we literally were just joking around and spitballed an idea, and 30 minutes later we had a raid written up. So yeah, that's how some of these raids are created, by the way. You guys are going to be spending hours on a raid that took us 15 minutes of joking around to create. So enjoy that. Hey, me and you both, Sinden. I can speak Wells, and I take Adora's critique very seriously. So that's that. The things, all the reasons. All right, here we go with the outro.